Hey, top of the Monday morning to you. This is Matt Potratz here. This is your Monday Morning Minutes with Matt, your M4 podcast. Appreciate you tuning in this morning. I know it's a lot of places you can be right now. Well, I'm just glad you chose to be here. This morning I want to hit you with something pretty hard. What is your moral code? What is your moral code? Maybe you never asked yourself that before, but you really should because you have to have a moral code. There has to be some set of guidelines for your life. There has to be some kind of boundaries. There has to be some kind of fences for how you live. Because if there's not, everything is permissible and everything cannot be permissible. Let's look at it real quick. You might say, well, what is a moral code? So I just straight up ask Google, what's a moral code? What is a moral code? And Google just says moral code is a set of principles or rules that guides an individual's or group's behavior and decision making, often based on personal beliefs or societal norms. It acts as a framework of distinguishing right from wrong and can be based in various sources, including religious beliefs, cultural traditions, and personal ethics. Examples include the Ten Commandments or the Five Precepts of Buddhism. Now, for me, it's the Ten Commandments because I'm a Christian man. But now for you, maybe it's the Five Precepts of Buddhism. I don't really care what it is to an extent, as long as you have some kind of moral code you live by. What is your moral code? Now, if we live in America, our moral code is based on the Bible. It really is. I mean, if you look back to our founding documents, it's laced with scripture and biblical principles. It just is. That's how our founding fathers were Christian believers, and they based it upon that. Now, I'm not saying you got to be a Christian to live in America. I'm not saying you got to be a Christian to be accepted here. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is we have some kind of a guideline to go back to. Because, like I said, without fences, without guidelines, without rules, without moral code, everything is permissible and everything cannot be permissible because if everything's permissible, guys, it's like a freight train traveling down a set of broken tracks at 60 miles an hour with no brakes. There's no guidelines. There's nothing to say what's right and wrong. There's nothing to say where the stops are, nothing to say where the fences are, nothing to say what the guidelines are. There's nothing to say anything. So everything just it's a train wreck, literally. And think about where we're at in society right now. There's probably a good almost half of our nation are trying to say that we've got to make everything permissible. So we got to eliminate moral code. The problem with that is that exactly what we're seeing right now, folks. I mean, you think about it. We're suggesting that if you don't like the gender that God created you to be, you can simply mutilate that and you can have a surgery to change that and you can take hormones and pills and and supplements to change that. That's normal. That's normal. That's no moral code. That is no moral fences. That's the problem. Now, same thing like I don't condemn gay people. I don't. I have friends that are gay, but it's kind of the same thing. We just say, well, if you don't think the moral code or the guidelines are Adam and Eve, you can decide to make it Adam and Steve. I can do whatever I want because there's no guidelines and everything's permissible. So leave me alone, let me live my life because there's no moral code. Or we can say that I don't particularly like the laws of the land. I don't like the laws that are impending on me. So I'm going to organize a big riot. We're going to tear down a city. We're going to light buildings on fire. We're going to throw stones at federal law officers. I can do whatever I want because everything is permissible. You see this here, guys? That's the problem. If there's no moral code, if there's no fence, if there's no guideline, if there's no floor, no ceiling, if we can do everything we want, when we want, how we want, we will have an absolute complete train wreck as a nation. So I want to ask you, what is your moral code personally? For your family and you personally, what is your moral code? What decides what your fences are? What decides what the guidelines are? Is it in writing? For me, it is because I have a Bible full of six books and 1,200 chapters and 31,000 scriptures and verses, and I have a guideline. Again, I'm not not trying to force that on you. This is not a Christian podcast. It's an encouraging, uplifting podcast. But I have to just urge you guys, for your family right now, decide today, what is our moral code and what are we going to live by and what are we going to decide is right and wrong, and then stand up and live by that. Don't let everything be permissible. Don't let that train roar down the tracks headed for doom, because there's no brakes, there's no guidelines. So I want to encourage you this morning, ask yourself that this week: what is my moral code? Find a moral code, write it out, live by it, and then stand up and say everything is not permissible. There are guidelines, there are fences, and I'm going to live a life that exemplifies that. I promise you, it'll change your world. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good week. We'll tune in next week, Monday Morning Minutes with Matt, your M4 podcast. I appreciate you guys. Thanks.